What they didn't intend to buy, 34% of them bought what they didn't intend to buy. All right? They asked for this, and they bought this from another dealer. All right? And then the other one was just the used cars, just any make and model. 42% of them bought, and maybe wasn't the actual car that came in on a used car. They saw the white Mustang and ended up taking the blue Avio. You never know what their buying motive is once they get here and they start seeing the selection. Why the appointment is so important. Why setting the time aside is so important to get the customer in. All right. So that's, hey, does that kind of get your attention a little bit? It's not boring numbers. It's really not. So I said it, but I didn't want to bore you with it, but it really can open your eyes a little bit. The customer purchase timeline. This is what's real important. This is where the 5-day press, the 5-day part of our 2-week press is so important, because look at the 24% in the first 10 days buy, 11 to 20 days, 11%, and 21 to 30 days, 8%. Then we have some nurturing of our lead that we've got to take into consideration. Not killing them with emails after that 10-day process. That's when we start getting, from that 10 days to 90 days, that's when I start getting the unsubscribe link. Because we're just throwing, and here's the bad thing is, we're throwing an email at them that was for day 8, and it's day 11, so we sent day 8 because we got a little past due. We actually sent day 9 because it was a little past due, and the BDC director didn't get in there and clear some of the tasks out, so we sent day 10, we sent day 11. So all in one day, we sent the customer four emails because we had to clear our bin out. We had to clear our task out. We cleared our job. We didn't do our job with the customer. Hey, that's the crawling stage that we were in. This is where we're up on the table, kind of waiting to step off. Now we're going to step off and we're going to start handling our customer other than handling the lead. So we're going to take our time with the customer. But look what happens in that down period. We still got to have some follow-up. It's just not going to be that rich minute every day in your face. Look what happens between 31 to 60 days, 15%. Then there's a little dry spell there between 61 and 90. And then after 90 days, that customer that you built that rapport with and you showed them the value in doing business with us, and you've done a good, proper nurturing of that lead and massaging that lead and not inundating them with a bunch of just emails until they unsubscribe, 32% buy after 90 days. Your DLEX leads are really, their studies show that about 45 days is their timeline. Now, once again, I broke some numbers down that I didn't show you here. Last month, our average 38 deals that we sold took an average of 13 days to close. And we had a bunch of 1-dayers in there, and we had a bunch of 30-dayers in there. And we had a few 40-dayers in there. We even had some 90-dayers in there. But all in all, when you put the number together on the 38, we averaged a 14-day turn cycle. Once again, it matches these numbers before I even saw them. All right? Ain't that, it's kind of crazy. I like that. So we'll move on. Get out of this. Strategy, it's all about connecting. That's what the big push is today. The 12-day press. The two of y'all have seen them. You're going to see them. You saw me developing some of them yesterday. And you said, Mr. Moore, are you going to be up there all night to fix them? Right. And you know what my answer was? Unfortunately, it was. We had a little VPN connection last night. Who was on shift last night? Did you lose about 11:38? About 11:38 and 14 seconds is when I lost my VPN connection. And I lost it. And I said, wow. And 10 minutes later, it came right back up. We didn't miss nothing. I checked it. So I didn't even, good thing I didn't want to have to call you. It was about midnight. So at midnight, I had 15 more templates to go and 14 phone calls to set up in the process. So, hey, my 2-week press was done all in one evening. So anyway, it was a lot of fun.
Tell them about the one showing up at the dealership that was not at the right dealership.
No doubt. I got 2 stories. That's one of my stories I'm going to tell, and I got another story I'm going to tell about exactly how this stuff works, and it's kind of crazy. If you go to this part of your book, and because I wanted to start this class at 3 o'clock, and I was going to be done at 3:30, and that's 10 minutes to 4, and I really hate that I've lost a little bit of track, but are y'all having an okay time with this? Yeah. All right, so I can let it continue a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I appreciate your patience more than anything. I really wanted to get the class started on time. I was still running, had a computer problem, so let's take just a second. This was going to be an exercise I was going to take about 5 minutes to do. Here's what I was going to have you do. Now, I want to see y'all's face when I want y'all to look at me. I want to read your face when I tell you what the exercise was going to be. Y'all are going to take a pen and put it in your hand. And you're just going to tell me what we do on day 1. You're just going to give me the title and the name or the title of the email template or the email that you sent out on day 1. And you're just going to do that for my first 14 days. You do it every day. You look at the CRM every day, and I can see your face now. You're saying, boy, I'm glad he didn't write a time for this. I bet you're glad you don't have really glad. But hey, listen, we do this every day, okay? Do you know how to get to the dealership when you leave your driveway? Do you know how to drive here? Why? Because some of you drive here every day, you have to come in for classes, all right? But you just know how to get here.
Yeah.
It's just, you go down this road, you go down that road. That's the same thing. We look at this every day. Can you tell me how many blue houses you pass on the way in?
Yeah.
Hey, if I told you to think about that for the next 2 weeks, could you be able to tell me, give me a number?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, if I told you to do it. Well, what I'm telling you to do now is just understand your process. Get you to buy into the process, understand what's coming down the road, all right?
Instead of just being automatic at it.
That's right. Yeah. See, if I took the 5 minutes, I could even let y'all break down the groups. You take, you'll take this side of the room and this side of the room here, and you're new, you would already know where we're at. Guess what? You might have more answers than they do. All right? I don't know. But if I took and broke y'all down and let y'all collaborate on it, you think y'all could get to day 14 and tell me exactly what we send out? And what the content of the phone call should be on day 6? Does anybody know when Mr. Layer's email goes out? The fig leaf? Day 11. Day 11. Okay? So those are the little things. But I understand. I understand because it was a 30-day process. I'll promise you this. I've been looking at it too for 90 days, been trying to fix it. I've looked at them so much that I forgot where they're at. I know what they say, I don't know their titles. But I tell you what, I set this process up, and this is the Reed Liars process. This ain't dealer synergy. Yeah, it's David Kane. He's given us an idea, a thought starter on a 2-week press. And he's got other dealers using it, and it's working very well for him. This can be our process. David Kane's just an instrument. He's one of our tools back there on our steps that we're going to take. Okay, he's a tool that we're going to use, and he's going to teach us even how to take this another level. But first off, when he comes in the store, I've got to tell him I've got a crew that's bought into this. I got a crew that really believes in this. And when he sits down and says, okay, tell me about your 2-week press. When he sits down 2 weeks from now, we're going to be able to tell him, hey, on day 4, this is what I do. And it depends on what the customer asks me on day 3. It depends on where they've responded to me. Because I may not use day 4. I may not use day 5. There may not even be in the new process, there may not even be a day 4. You're going to know on day 3 that a manager is going to be involved in that lead. On day 3, a manager's letter goes out to the internet director, internet manager. My letter, my email goes out on my behalf that you're going to send. My phone bank is my task to say, I need to call that customer and make sure that Country Girl's been taken care of. All right? So, okay, see how the process works? You got day 1, the initial lead. You got day 2. And then day 3, you skip a day. You got day 3 for me to get involved. And then day 5, you pick back up. You skip a day on day 4. And you may not have that going on for day 6 and 7 because that first 5 days we want them to respond. Once we respond, the process is almost done. We don't need to rely on the rest of the process because if they respond to us within 5 days, they're going to do probably about 3 things. They're going to beat us up over the phone over price and really, hammer us, and we're going to have to use our rebuttals. They're going to set an appointment, and they're going to show up. All right? Or they'll set an appointment and they won't show up. All right? So those things will happen if they respond to us in that first 5 days. So after, day 6 and day 7, everybody gets to take a deep breath before we start getting back in on day 8 with the customer. And then the general sales manager, John Quinn, might have to send an email out on his behalf. And then we might make a phone call for him on his behalf. I will probably make a public relations call on his behalf, or I'll give him a list and say, hey, John, you got these 10 customers I need you to call for me today. That's what he wants to do.